systems or hiring a staff if you're a life insurance agent or agency, you need to know what's best for you. I'm going to be breaking down this video exactly what we've seen from trends for life insurance agents and agency owners, and when they should be focusing on building systems and when they should be focused on hiring staff. My name is Trey, the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped over 550 agents issue pay $40,000 per month by leveraging our leads, systems, and backend. And this YouTube channel is really for me to show you exactly what they're doing, the thoughts, the processes, and everything that's involved in helping you as an agent make $40,000 a month, or you as an agency owner scale to $1 million a month. So let's hop right into this. Okay, cool. So let me give you some brief background on how we got here. I was recording video yesterday, and at a point in the video, I was breaking down the difference between having a system and hiring staff, and when you should do which, and why we noticed that hiring staff was better. Okay, so first of all, let's just talk about this. Let me blow this up really quickly. Ooh, my bad. So let's break it down. So per our definition, right, we're looking at system is going to be like lead generation tools. Okay, GoHighLevel tools, AI bots, etc. Staff is literally going to be people who run those tools, etc. So understand this before we hop in. Most people are like, yo, I need a system. I need a system. It's like, great. Typically what happens with a system is you buy it from somebody. It's like a flat rate. It's something that's pretty standardized. You can customize it. They'll even give you like templates, videos, whatever may be necessary. Hey, record this, do this, plug and play, adjust your ad spend, etc. While that's great, I have done that. I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons to that. Okay, so I'm going to break down the pros versus the cons of that. And then I'm going to talk about the pros versus cons of hiring a team, and then why I choose staff and my agents kill it. Okay, so let's talk about this system first before we hop into staff. So system, a lot of pros. One of the most immediate one is going to be leverage, okay, with money. Now, what I mean by that is you pay one time, right, own forever. Okay, now a lot of times people will say like, setting up your own ads manager to me is creating a system, right? Getting access to ad templates and files is a system. Buying a GoHighLevel that's already built with all the AI bots and everything established, that is a system. That's leverage because you pay for it one time, you own it forever. You're not paying somebody to manage it, it's yours. Now, understand that the con to that side, which we'll talk about with the staff, is that literally every single time that you buy a system, you either have to work it or you have to pay or hire somebody to work it. So while it gives you initial leverage, it does not give you ultimate leverage. Okay. That is the first and probably the biggest con of working within a system. Now, when we first started, or what we now call Apex, but at the time we just coined a term from one of my mentors. It was kind of like our build and release model. And I think for a lot of industries, this works. And I actually think for this industry, it can work. But what we were doing, I'll kind of walk you through it. Okay. So what we did is we would say, hey, it's $10,000 one time. Okay. We make them pay, right? And we'll say, hey, we're going to give you a lot of stuff. It'll be like Facebook ad templates. We're going to give you a copy. We're going to give you the creative. We're going to give you the ad angles. We're going to give you the scripts. We're going to give you a GoHighLevel. It's going to be pre-built with all the systems, right? Automations, etc. And then this other thing, so that's the build release part. When we released it, right, we'd also provide you the media buyer, staff, VA team, and then a what else were we given? Oh, a systems integrator. So you could literally pay $10K one time, get this entire blueprint, and then be off to the races. Then you had to pay these people a la carte, right? So a la carte payments for these people, right? So for the sake of time, I'm just going to go do this, right? And you'd pay a la carte, and you could pay anywhere from media buyer like $2K to $5K. That'd be a per month for your whole team. right? Staff VA, let's say it's like another 800 to 1,000, right? And by the way, that 2K to 5K is totally dependent on like the size of your agency. Then you have your systems integrator, which is typically going to be about like 2K a month, right? So you would have like essentially a staff that you would have officially, right? And what happened is there's a big, even when we would source people with the best talent, right? The problem with this model that isn't really identified is like, cool, I would make my money up front. You would get this system. You feel good. It's amazing. You'd be working with us typically like 3 months. Then at the end of 3 months, we'd release you. So you'd have your media buyer, your staff VA team, systems integrator. Now, in a perfect world, that works. But here's the problem with our niche that's unlike other niches. Things are always changing, and there's tons of people, and there's a component of this that we're not offering that other industries offer. So typically, when you do this model, they're going to give you what? They're going to give you a sales rep / team. Okay, that's the piece that they're missing. So they might not have a staff VA team or system integrator. They might just have a media buyer, and then they do everything else, or they just have like a baseline AI, and they're good. So you don't need these things. These are all a la carte. I had people pay the 10K and they're like, dude, I'll do everyththing myself. They'd get one of their agents to do it. I'd have other people who would just be like, hey, in this situation, my bad, y'all. 1 second. In this situation, I'll take the media buyer. I don't need the staff VA. I'll take the systems integrator. So we were allowing people to mix and match, partnering people up with different media buyers from different segments. But the thing that they didn't have was the staff, the sales rep team. Now, this is why this is important. In other industries, when you get that sales team, what happens? Even when you run ads and the media buyer is not that great, if you're still making money, you're good. The problem, though, is that this system does not work unless you have somebody who can head telling these people what to do. And most of the times, unfortunately, a lot of life insurance agents are not necessarily business owners. I have a whole video on the difference between a business owner and a life insurance agency owner. There's tons of behavioral demographics that behaviors, I apologize, that identify which one you are, but understanding that most agents and agency owners are not business owners, so they don't understand how to manage the team. And even if they're really good at sales, a lot of the agents are very a la carte. It's a very like get it how you live type of thing. There's a lot of gatekeeping in this industry. So what would happen is we build this system, right? One person would be like, yeah, I'm gonna share with everybody. They'd get it set up. They'd feel like, well, I paid 10K. I'm paying for the staff. So things are gonna be ran my way. They don't have any vision. So when they were working with us, we gave them the vision. Then after we released them, we're like, hey, you're good. So what we started doing is we were like, hey, we can actually come in and give you guys additional services to help grow and scale your agency. But then what ended up happening is they ended up paying like 30, 40K because then we had to charge our retainer on top, which didn't make sense. So when you get a system, no matter where you're getting it from, I'm just talking about what we did, but no matter where you go, you're going to pay 10K, 15K, 20K. They're going to give you this system. Amazing. You still got to spend ad spend. You still have to then manage your team that they're going to give you. And if they don't give you a team, you got to do it. Now, if you do it yourself, that's kind of contradicting the purpose of getting a system is to gain leverage. You don't really get the ultimate leverage when you are the one running the ads, doing all things. That doesn't really make sense. You get leverage when you start hiring other people to do it, or you get a system or a vehicle that can do it on your behalf. Now, the great thing is that there's an answer, okay? And that's staff, right? And when I say staff, I mean hiring professionals. Now, unfortunately, because of what I said earlier, most people in the life insurance space don't understand this concept, okay? Now, really there's 3 ways, but the first one we talk about a lot on the channel. That's just buying leads. This is if you're going to go on the self-gen or you're going to take the more business owner approach. What are your options? You're like, hey, I don't want to buy leads. I'd rather generate my own. Do I get a system or do I hire staff? Now, the cool thing about staff, so the immediate pro, is that you get both, right? You get both. Now, the thing that you don't get, or we can talk about cons. Talk about you get both. So what does that mean, right? You get a system that's created or it's pre-built. So some people have pre-built systems or they can create it for you. The staff are the people that create it and you get people to run it. right? That is everything. So if you get this system that works and you get the staff all in one, guess what happened? Because they built it or it's pre-built, they know how it works. The difference with this is we're partnering you up with different people because we know how to build other things, but we had to outsource a ton of talent. We didn't have anybody in house, right? Because we were literally giving these people like, hey, dude, you paid for it, it's yours. You just paid us our 10K. Then you're gonna negotiate these deals with these people, right? Depending on where they're at, and then you're gonna do your thing. And the reason why we did that is because we were still selling leads, right? Then what I understood was like, okay, if I can take more time to find the best people in the industry, like a top flight media buyer and a top flight systems engineer, my VA team can handle it. I'll hire a few more people, then we could actually still have it pre-built or customize it for our clients, bring them in and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Now, that's the pro because you still get the pre-built system, but then you get the team to run it, which means that you don't run into constraints and bottlenecks in the same way. What that means essentially is if you are somebody who is like, man, we're having a problem with the sales. A lot of times sales and marketing have to work together. But in the life insurance space, it's just sales, 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 sales. There's never no identity in marketing. So that's why a lot of people step away from buying leads to wanting to do self-gen or hiring a marketing team. Well, when you do self-gen or hire a marketing team, you then have to understand what you're doing on the marketing side to make sure that the sales are in alignment. The cool thing about buying leads is that when you buy leads, it's pretty straightforward, right? You pay for the leads, typically cheap or it's high intent. You find a script, you find a vendor, you kind of work with them, bada boom, bada bing, you're good. The problem is that it's very hard to scale. It's really simple to make sales with leads. Really, really simple because the cost typically outweighs the return. Sorry, the returns, outweighs the cost. So if I put $500 in, I close 10 deals or whatever it is, right? So you're like constantly, okay, you get the immediate reward. They come in fast. Like it's simple. The con is that it's difficult to scale with lead vendors because you may find somebody that works for you, but then your team doesn't. The benefit is that when you have a system, you have it created. That's the immediate pro. Then you have people that run it. So when you run into problems, the people that created it and the people that run it can give you a solution and you can communicate with them on how to overcome it. Because if you're good at selling, you're good at selling. There's no way around it. I could give you dollar leads, $10 leads, $30 leads, $50 leads, right? You're going to make a sale. That's not indicative of you being able to grow. That just means you can sell. If you can't teach other people or plug people into something that's predictable, you don't necessarily have a well-run system and you don't have staff. The cool thing is that system on the front end, essentially for most people, just means how can I actually find something that's going to work that I can plug people into? The bad thing is that system only goes as far as the staff. You hear the line all the time, like you can only go as far as your team. It's the same thing. So the people you hire to run the system are just as important as the system you buy. All the nooks, all the crannies. So most of the time people are like, oh man, I need to get a really good system. Like I need good leads. No, you need a team. There's a difference. Buying good leads is not a team. Buying good leads is a means to an end, and they will fold on you. It's just a part of it, and there's no way around it until you can start getting in contact with the creators, start making adjustments, get that ultimate piece of leverage. Now the con, okay, and I have to write all that down because it's pretty straightforward. You can rewind it if you need to hear what I said, but understand that is really what you're buying. That's what you're paying for: a system to be created and a team to run the system. When those two things come together, there's no way you can be stopped. And a lot of people don't understand why that is. I tell people one of the reasons why we've kept our clients for 3.5 years, genuinely, most of our clients are still with us. They buy multiple times. Ironically, we literally just had a client. He bought aged leads. He paid $600. He bought another batch of aged leads. He paid $1,000. He bought another batch of aged leads. He paid $1,000. That is $2,600 over the lifetime. He just paid another $1,300. That's $7,800 or $7,800 over the lifespan of about 5 months off of a lead that literally cost me $10. Now, what do you probably think is going to happen next? Individual will probably end up having success. He'll probably reinvest, and then eventually he'll turn into a partnership client. Why do I say that? Because I have the mechanism for them to progress, right? But it's based off of the inherent value that can be given. When you're talking about the con of hiring and having staff and running a system, is that it takes time and it takes effort. But the reason I brought that story up is because every single thing can be adjusted and switched. Perfect example. If you run into an issue, right, with aged leads, you're like, okay, you need to go to fresh leads. If you run into an issue with fresh leads, where do you go? If you don't have solutions or you don't have ways like, hey, look, The reason why you're not successful is because we're targeting this demographic. This is what you need to say to that demographic to get them to convert. This is how we're going to position it. This is what you said in the intro. Why does that matter? If you're not working with somebody who's hands-on with other agents and agencies, they can't give you feedback of what's working, what's not. I think the thing that a lot of people lack and don't understand is that when you hire people, you communicate with them. And because you communicate, you learn. And because you learn, you can make pivots and make adjustments. Because outside of that, if you're just like, I'm always ahead of the curve. So I know what trend people are going in, and I'm able to just pivot immediately and get people to the other side. Whereas a lot of people are like, I got to stick with this. And it's like, yes, you do have to stick with it, but you also have to be aware of when am I going to make my next turn? If you're working with the same people over and over and over again, you're always a step behind. It's just like when people hopped into the vet leads, they were like, oh man, let's hop on these vet leads. Dude, the vet lead wave, man, started a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. It's like now people are on the truckers and all these other little niches. I like to stick to my bread and butter. If you follow me, you know what I'm talking about. Mortgage protection, final expense, IUL. We do some vets here and there, but bread and butter is always going to be those because those stand the test of time and we don't have to worry about specific niches. And then when it gets quote unquote saturated, we just learn how to pivot because we adjust and actually make changes to your marketing. But you can't do that unless you work with a team. Here's the other thing. When you have a system, most people don't understand that system is for that present time. So I'll give you a perfect example. When I was doing build and release last year, it was tons of people trying to sell these systems. Now guess what a lot of people are trying to do? This self-gen thing. There's all these different ways to beat around the bush of like what you actually need to do. There's these cool creative names, but they last for like a month or two. The one thing I can say I'm very proud of, and I think you should focus on when you're looking at working with somebody, is like their track record. So most people think that, okay, I'm just going to hire something because it sounds cool and they promised it. And they're like, I get burned. The problem is the reason you're getting burnt is because you're not working with solid people, right? OQP, only quality people. You need to be focused on finding people that can actually get you to the goal. So 3 things that my mentor always says, and I take it, right? Number 1 is going to be their track record. So the staff that you're looking to hire, that's the next thing. Is like in the con, by the way, essentially that I was trying to get to is that it takes time, right? And it costs money. And if you're not willing to wait and not willing to be patient and build a real business, then hiring staff and actually creating an infrastructure is not for you. Because understand that on the pro, you got to communicate. But the con is that you got to communicate. If I give you a pre-built system and I just say, here you go, because I know it's going to churn and burn for a month or two and then you're going to be out, that's cool. But if I'm actually looking to build you something long-term, I'm not just going to give you the new hot thing so you can make some money real quick. I'm going to tell you the things that take time. And the beautiful thing is that anything that's really good, it does take time. There's a reason why most programs are 3 months, 6 months. They're not, 20 days. Because you got to get things optimized. You got to learn each other. Like all of our clients, we get month 2. You can look at all of them. Like the first month, 2 months, it's not that they don't make money. It's that they don't know me. So I don't know what works for them. I don't know how to communicate with them. We had 2 clients today. One of them felt like we really didn't have good communication, and that's fine. Going back and forth, I learned. I said, okay, this is how you want us to communicate with you. I don't know, right? This is my blueprint. You have your way. Because we have these calls, we can learn each other. There was a little bit of tension, but that's okay. Tension is good. It moved us forward. Now I'm super clear on exactly what they like. They said it, but the way they communicated initially, I didn't receive it. I didn't understand it. Maybe that's on me. Maybe that's on them. There's no blame. The second group of individuals, their understanding was that they just wanted things to be a little bit more personalized than we already have, and that we had been telling them, hey, you should be transitioning your team from final expense to mortgage, and now eventually, they had some agents like complaining, and I'm like, yo, just keep them at it, and they just stayed on them. Now they're turning a new leaf. Agents are closing. Agents are having more success because they bought into it. If they were just buying leads from us, they'd have one bad week and leave. And you can't build anything sustainable like that. You got to commit to actions for a long period of time. So that's the con. And most people aren't willing to do it. They're like, oh man, I just want instant gratification. Like, that's fine. You can keep doing that. But if you're even watching this video, if you got this far, you understand that you're trying to build something. Like, this is the ownership model. They're both ownership. You're not really wrong if you go either or. I'm just letting you know what I prefer and what I've seen more success with. Some people will say, hey, dude, just buy the system and figure it out on your own. Yeah, it's probably more affordable, right? But it's like, are you looking for affordability? You're looking for consistency and predictability. For me, I'd rather always spend more money knowing kind of what I'm going to get every day or every week or every month than be like shaky and be like, oh my goodness, man, I know I'm penny pinching. But godly, because it always comes back, right? You buy your peace of mind, you buy your time. Now, going back into understanding that having a staff, right? There's a few things that you need to look out for. And that's what I'm saying. So when hiring staff, right? What to do, right? And this isn't just for me. This is for if you're going anywhere, because hiring staff doesn't have to be like working with Trey or working with like these other, there's about like good companies out here that do something similar to us. You can hire your friends, you can hire your family. Do I recommend it? No. But if you want to, if you pay for the system, you can get somebody to run the system, but it's best that you have somebody doing that and then you pay them to do that full time so they can give it their undivided attention and they can start paying attention to trends and see what adjustments need to be made. So when you're hiring, there's a few things that you should be like just focusing on. Number one is going to be track record. Okay. Now, what do I mean by this? If we're not excluding, like, we're not talking about family, we're talking about if you're looking for like companies like ours or other companies, you want to look at like, okay, cool. What have they done? Right? For us, it's like, okay, we've been in business 3.5, almost 4 years. We've helped over 550 agents. We got over 218 videos on our website. You can go look at all that stuff. That's tangible evidence to show that we've had success. You can look at all of our testimonials. You can ask about us. We have recurring clients. We've been in business for a long time. So it's like, okay, these people know what they're doing, right? What's that do? That gains trust, right? And then you should trust people because if you're making a decision, you shouldn't go off of like this fancy thing. The second thing is specificity, right? I think I spelled that right. Specificity. Okay, cool. Basically, so my mentor said, and I like it. Well, you wouldn't have Michael Jordan teach you how to golf, and you wouldn't have Tiger Woods teach you how to play basketball, right? So when you're looking to hire people, don't go hire people that are just like, man, I just run ads. It's like, I mean, that's cool. That's basically what you're doing up here, which is going into the cons that I mentioned, that if people aren't like masters in the niche or they don't have like relative understanding, it's difficult to scale. Not because they don't know how to run ads, because they don't know how to make the necessary adjustments when things get hard. Yes, they can like pivot and try different angles, but if you're trying different angles in this industry, remember, we are getting advanced. So you can't just be like, hey man, we're going to blow 10 racks. It doesn't work like that. If you blow 10 racks, you get 2 chargebacks, and that was the last little 10 racks you had, then you're cooked. And now the business is done. Because the bad thing about marketing, and it's a good thing in most instances, but bad thing in life insurance is you have to feed the beast. You got to keep giving the paying into ads to keep testing, to keep trying things. So you got to burn through thousands of dollars. Like, it's not, there's no way around it. The benefit is if you find somebody who's specialized, you burn less, right? So you're like, okay, I know that we're running kind of into a wall. Now we need to pivot. What do we pivot? What do we adjust? It happens. It's like, okay, now we got to change. Like, we run into it all the time. You start spending enough, you're like, okay, this was working. Now it's not. What do I do to change it? So you start changing it, right? But if you don't have a specialist, you just have people that run ads. Guess what they're going to tell you? Well, your frequency caps are too high. Whoop de whoop de whoop de whoop de whoop. They don't really know what to do. You have to understand to know what to do. You have to understand the demographics of the people that you're working with and what they're looking for, things to pay attention to. Because just because you get low lead price doesn't necessarily mean it's good, right? I talk about it all the time. You could do static images and get really low leads if the quality sucks and different demographics behave better or worse, younger versus older, right? Full videos on how that works, but understand that each demographic has its own set of like behaviors in the way that they market. But if you're working with somebody who doesn't know that and doesn't know why they behave like that because they've never been in somebody's house, they don't know what it looks like, they've never closed the deal, they've never gotten a charge back. If they don't understand those feelings, then they can't really help you, right? And that's just like the simplest way. I mean, they can, but you're not hiring the best possible talent. So you want to find somebody who's specialized specifically in like the life insurance space or just insurance in general, who can have some relative understanding. Track record, specificity, and then attention, right? This is super important. Now, this is kind of why the system part is very difficult, because even if you buy a system from somebody who has a really good track record, that's cool. Specificity is also good. They're probably better with specificity than it is because they've built the system for your specific instance. The thing that they don't even have, it's not even relevant, is the attention. There is no attention when you buy a system. You just buy the system. They may give you like SOPs and blueprints, but they're not going to sit there and like, yes, they'll walk you through it. Let me take that back. But you're not going to have like a dedicated person holding your hand for the progress because you're just getting the system. That's it. It's nothing else to it. So when you buy this system, you don't get the attention. Now, if you're looking for somebody to work with when you're talking about the staff space, here's a few things that you should be on the lookout for. Most people say, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm going to put you on a group call, right? I'm going to get you in this big group call. I'll get you assigned to a general VA who doesn't have much context, going back to what I just said about specificity. They don't really know but they'll answer any questions you have. We'll hop on Zoom. We'll be good to go, right? What we focus on and what you should focus on genuinely is that you should be looking at somebody who's going to give you that one-to-one attention. Because if you're building a system and you have the team running the system and you're getting general advice, yes, the system will grow because you have somebody working on it, but it will not grow as fast. And if you're talking about percentages wise, you're looking at probably anywhere from a 25 to 30% increase, right, in overall performance by you being managed one on one. And you're probably like, Trey, where did you get that number from? Think about it. If you have a bigger agency, right, of 30, 40, 50 people, right, and you're trying to generate leads, you need to get the details from all of those people. Do you think every single person is going to hop on Zoom, the group Zoom? No. So what you need to have is like one-on-one meetings with all of your staff members. Sorry, the agents that are getting onboarded, right? Their own personalized communication, their own reps. If they don't have those things, then what's going to happen is as you scale, you're going to lose that congruency. So you're going to have newer people who don't understand the process. They're going to get on and then they're going to fail and they're going to blame the system. And it's like, no. The system works because we know the people buy into the system and we have the people who are running it. You got to buy this many leads. You got to work like this. You got to use this, use this, use this. If you do those things, you will get X outcome. If you lose that crack, then you don't have it. If you don't have somebody that's going to set that up and walk with you, then it's like, you're going to be hard to scale. The biggest determining factor on when you hire for attention is what type of agency are you and where you're trying to go. Perfect example. We work with my guy, William Rapp. I talk about him. He runs an annuity agency. They don't really need a lot of attention. Why? Because most agents who are at that level, right? Because they don't really scale them up. Like they hand and cherry pick. You got to be creme de la creme to work with their crew. They don't do a lot of like one-on-one catering. They do group calls for education because a lot of those people are very, very professional for the most part, right? They listen. There's not really much to it. Let's take another example. You've got young, just hitters doing final expense. Do you think they need attention? Yes, because they're just buying leads, working aggressively. Things aren't really organized. The communication is not that great. Nothing wrong with it. Like they're making money, but they are probably gonna need a little bit more. Like, okay, man, this is what you got to do. This is how you have to do it. So that's important too. But nonetheless, you still need some level of attention. Like just mass group calls and no one-on-one or no dedicated reps or coaches. Once again, as you scale, it works initially. You got 4 or 5 agents, but when you start getting 10, 15, 20 agents, you're like, okay, well, what am I going to do at this point? And then you lose them, right? And it's super, super important. So I wanted to just hop in and kind of break this down. These are some of the more important things that you need to understand. Now, the reason why we switched, okay? I talked a little bit about what happened, but I also want to talk about why we switched. So what I noticed, and the reason why we brought this up is because some of our most successful clients, they've stuck with us. At like year 2, I did something that I'm kind of like, okay, cool. It was fine, but going back, I could have done it better. If you know my story, when we started, like all these people doing this self-gen thing, we've been doing this a long time. Like, hey man, you get set up, you pay this. We just combined the rates and made it super simple. But we've been doing like the ad spend, stuff like that. So what happened was when we set that up initially and we were running that, I would have a lot of people coming to me, right? And people would be like, yo, can I get this? Like from my guy, Scotty, they would see his ads and his ads were like, nobody was doing personalized branding. Like that wasn't even a thing. It was like static images and that's it. Nobody was on the ads talking. So we were running that infinite banking play years ago. In the IUL play, nobody heard about it. It wasn't a popular thing, whatever. Well, like 8 or 9 months into it, people started catching on. And then people wanted to get into this space where they were like, hey, can you work with my agency? But for a while, nobody really knew how to do it. So top of the year, this was 2024, 2020, end of 2023, going to 2024, we started pushing out ads, telling people, hey, we'll help you build this, build that. And then that's when I got into the mentorship and I learned about the whole build and release thing. So then I came out with that to then offer that to people. And it worked. But the problem was that the moment that people got released, they'd do like a month on their own, 2 months on their own, and then they'd have to come back, right? And then I had to come up with these like prices and it felt kind of wrong. So I'm like, okay, we just need to change the model. The reason I did that is because a lot of people were like, yo, this agency model's dead. Life insurance agents won't see value in it. What I realized is you just got to find the right people. But that works on both ends. So if I'm the staff that's being hired, You got to find the right people that want to work with you, and vice versa. I got to find the right agents and agency owners that want to work with me. When you buy a system, you're not buying any personality, you're buying the end result. That's it. Once again, that works initially. The problem is it's difficult to scale because you're going to run into a bottleneck when if the system doesn't come with somebody, or unless the system, let me put it like this. Let's say you're watching this years from now and you see the system is an AI system. Cool, do that, meaning that it will update and give you like what's working. That's completely different. But for now, the pre-built systems that they give you, or the ads or the graphics, all that stuff is fine. But if you do not have the people behind it, it does not matter. Because I promise you, you will run into a wall. The only time that you're going to be able to sustain the success is when you hire staff. Do not look at it any other way than this. And I always say this: you're running a business. If you're running a business, you need to hire staff. Just do. They need to do stuff for you. If you're running a business, you need to hire staff. Most life insurance agents hire what? An admin. Why do you not have a marketing team hired? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like I'm asking people like, okay, you hire an admin, but you do not have a marketing team running ads for your agency. If I was an agency owner, that's all I would be doing. If leads are the lifeline of my business, why am I going somewhere else? Why would I not have a conversation with the person I'm working with to make me the thing? For example, you're like, man, I just need cheaper leads. Okay, let's make cheap leads. It's not hard, but people won't communicate that. And it's like, okay, we create these, you buy these leads from people, but you aren't willing to create your own system. Then it's like there's people you can hire, but then you're not really willing to hire them. If you took away all the stuff that everybody else was doing and then you just focused on what successful businesses have, they have a good sales team, they have a quality culture, they have really good marketing, and then they created a good brand. Well, brand and sales, right? Sorry, brand and sales, I mean, to kick you guys off. Brand and sales, they work together, right? So if you have a quality, if you're making quality sales and you're bringing in new reps, you're going to grow your brand. People are going to be like, yo, I want to work with them. If you're making a lot of money, if you're posting things, marketing goes in with sales. You could be buying leads. Now it's time for you to hire a team to do things for you. Just keep it simple. Hey, we hired the team. This is what they do. This is how it works. Boom, boom. They're straight. So that's how you essentially grow, but also focus on like, okay, here's what we're doing. Which in this instance is we're hiring a team to come in and do all of the marketing. They do all the marketing, you're good. Everything that you need to be created can be created as long as it's communicated. If you do not communicate, you will not be successful. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth if you're hiring a staff. So I hope this video helped. As always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll tell you guys a few things real quick. The company that I run, Agent Lead Lab, if you are doing $250,000 to $300,000 a month, or $150,000 sometimes, depends. If you're doing less than $150,000 though, just disregard what I'm about to say. But if you're doing over $150,000 and you have an agency, you've got over 3 agents doing 20 to 30K, right? And you are somebody that wants to hire staff, we'd be honored if you applied to see if we'd be a good fit. All of our programs, they start at least $5,000. Okay, so I'm just going to let you guys know that from the jump. If you don't have 5K, do not waste your time. Don't get on the call, because that's what most people want to know. If you don't have 5K, just don't waste your time, guys. It's just being honest. If you have 5K and your agency is doing over 150,000, we love to see if we could potentially put together for a partnership, right? Now, the way the partnership works, we have tons of different versions. One where you can come in, we'll partner with you for free, right? We give you a discount on the leads at a rate for you and your whole agency. The other one, we can build all this stuff out, right? Run your ads, set up your own GoHighLevel, backend systems. We can do all that for you. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. The reason why I'm telling you guys this is don't get on the call if you're not like a fit for that. Otherwise, if you do not make 150 and you're not interested in either one of those things, or you're not a quality business owner or somebody that might want to partner up with us and see if it's a good fit, go to our website, which is Lead Lab CRM. If you are the agency owner, I realize I didn't say that. You're going to go to agentleadlab.com. You're going to fill out the form. If you're not detailed, we're going to cancel your call. Not because we're trying to be rude, because it's like I've already told you, and you've probably watched this video, please don't waste our time. But if you are serious and you do think that this might be a good fit, you're going to go there. You're going to fill that out, right? Then from there, we're just going to see if it's a good fit. It's going to be a pretty laid back call. I'm going to converse with you, ask you some questions. If it's a good fit, we move forward. If it's not, we don't. Really simple. If you're looking for more information, just watch all my YouTube videos. That's not what that call is for. That call is to feel if you're a good fit, make a decision, move forward or not move forward. If you want leads, you go to leadlabcrm.com. That is our sister website. Essentially, we've got our agency and the ownership model. We've got our leasing model. That's kind of how we've broken down our business. I've been saying that for years, but that's essentially the thought process. You either lease or you own. Now, if you're going to go the leasing route, we have tons of leads. We've got age leads, dollar leads, $2 leads, $5 leads. We have $10 leads, $15 leads, $12 leads, $30 leads. We have everything that you can imagine. So you'll be nothing short of leads. You just got to fill out that lead request. Once you fill it out, somebody will text you. They're going to send you an invoice or will call you. At that point, you're going to pay. Guys, don't trip out about it. You're just buying leads. All the information on the lead is on the website. You don't really need to know anything else outside of that. If you want something to be like super complex and in-depth, you should then wait to partner with us so we can show and unveil the curtain. If you just want quality leads, go to that website. And if you're like, yo, Trey, I don't want any of that stuff, but I just like watching your videos, that's fine too. Not here to sell you, just to let you know for the people that want to take action and might be a good fit. And if not, I'm going to keep recording these videos every day and keep providing as much value as possible. Once again, my goal is to help people make money and see the life insurance game differently. I'm not on here to sit and tell you about all the fancy AI and all that stuff. I think that's great, but there's tons of other amazing people out here doing that. Huge shout out to a lot of companies. I'm not going to name drop them, but there's some people out here doing really good work. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a hater. I give people kudos where kudos is due. And I think there's some amazing people in this space that are doing right by agents and agencies, despite what people are saying. And some of them get a lot too much flack, and I don't really appreciate it because I think that they do a wonderful job. Everybody here is just trying to make money and help their family at the end of the day. Whether you like or dislike their leads, I always tell people you should work with people for anywhere from a month to 3 months to really see what it is. Now, if you're buying leads, I think a month is more than enough. But if you're going to be doing this staff or system thing, give it 3 months. Don't shoot it down. Don't get discouraged. You're going to lose money. That's a part of it. When I say lose money, I just mean that you're going to lose it investing and figuring out what works and what doesn't, especially if you hire staff. If you buy a system, it's not really going to happen. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow, and you all have a wonderful evening. We'll talk soon.